You think you have an emergency fund, but what if I told you most people only realize their mistake when it's already too late? A job loss, a medical emergency, a sudden expense, and suddenly that safe money you thought you had disappears faster than you imagine. In this video, I will walk you through 10 dangerous emergency fund mistakes that can quietly destroy your financial life. And most importantly, how to fix each one of them. Let me tell you something upfront. This video may sound negative or not so interesting, but we are not expecting things to go wrong. We are on warrior mode, being prepared before entering the unknown territory. Sounds good, right? If you don't want one event to set you back financially by 10 years, you will find value in this video. I shall look forward to your thoughts in the comment section. Please share a few words in the comment. Stay till the end because point number 10 is something most people don't realize, but it can cost years of financial stability. The first point is 3 months is enough trap. Generally, people think 3 months of expense is enough to set as emergency fund. Most people blindly follow this rule. Keep 3 months to 6 months of expenses. Sounds safe, right? But here's the problem. Your life is not average. If you have EMIs, dependents, or a job in an unstable industry, 3 months is not safety. It's a false confidence. Imagine losing your job, and by the time you even process what's happening, your money is already running out. Here's the shift: emergency fund is not a formula, a thumb rule, or a standard number. It is risk management. What should you do instead is if you have stable salary or income, keep at least 6 months worth of expenses to start with. Or if you have a source of income which is variable or business where inconsistent income happens, you may keep a little more, around 9 to 12 months. And a buffer if you have additional responsibilities or challenging circumstances. Point number 2, keeping everything in savings account. Some people do the opposite. They play too safe. They keep their entire emergency fund sitting in an account which doesn't add up to anything. It feels safe, but quietly inflation is eating it every single year. So while your money looks the same, its real value is shrinking. What is the smart approach is split your emergency fund into layers. Let's say 30% in savings account for instant access, 40% in liquid funds, and 30% into short term investments like mutual fund, which is safe. By doing this, liquidity stays intact, but your money works smarter. Point number 3, investing emergency fund in equity. This is a big one. People think, why not put this amount in equity and earn better returns? Sounds logical until reality hits. Because emergencies and market crashes often come at the same time. Think about it. So, when you need money the most, your portfolio is down by a few percent. Now you are forced to sell a certain stock when you are not willing to sell at a loss. The golden rule here is emergency fund is not an investment, it's a protection fund which has to protect you during uncertain times. Therefore, no investing in equity, no taking risk, and no compromise on this particular fund. Point 4, mixing emergency fund with investments. If your emergency money is sitting inside your mutual fund portfolio, thinking mutual fund is safe, let me be direct. You don't have an emergency fund because when crisis hits, you won't know how much is safe to withdraw. You will hesitate to make decisions, and that causes many other frictions. And in emergencies, delay is dangerous. Fix this today. Create a separate, clearly labeled emergency account, different place, different purpose, and zero confusion. Point 5 is underestimating your real expenses. Most people calculate expenses like this: rent, grocery, EMI, and that's it. But real life doesn't work like that. What about insurance premiums, school fees, maintenance of assets, or non negotiable expenses like regular medical expense? When emergency hits, your essential expenses are actually higher than you planned, and your funds run out much faster. So what's the solution? Solution is track your real monthly essential expenses which you can't compromise for 2 to 3 months, and then add a buffer of 10% or whatever you're comfortable with. Plan for reality, not assumptions. Point 6, ignoring income risk. Not all income is equal. Therefore, everybody can't have the same number in emergency fund. Some jobs are stable, some are highly risky, some are unpredictable. Business goes through cycles as well. But most people build emergency funds as if everyone has the same risk and same goal. If you are in a startup or a sales role or freelancer or a risky business, your income can suddenly stop or be inconsistent. So, your emergency fund must be stronger in these cases. Think of it like this: high risk income equals bigger safety net. And yes, it cannot be built overnight, it needs planning and execution along with time. So, plan carefully and stick to your plan. Point 7, using emergency fund for lifestyle. I call this cheating. This is where discipline breaks. You dip into your emergency fund for a vacation or new phone or festive expenses, and you tell yourself, I'll fill this up later. But slowly your safety net disappears. Define this clearly. Emergency fund means an event like job loss, medical crisis, or family emergency. Everything else can wait because planned spending also leads to less emergency. Point 8, not building after using emergency fund. Let's say you used your fund for the right reasons. That's good. But here is where most people fail. They don't rebuild it. They are just so exhausted that they don't think of it. They go back to investing or routine life while staying financially exposed. The problem here is wrong priority. The solution here is after using emergency fund, pause and plan your investments. You don't have to refill everything at once. Redirect your money, rebuild this first, slowly, because the next emergency won't wait for a time period. Point 9 is interesting. Confusing emergency fund with insurance. Some people say, I have money saved, so I don't need insurance. Or others say, I have insurance, so I don't need emergency fund. This is dangerous. One hospitalization can wipe out your entire emergency fund if there is no insurance. However, even with insurance, there are times when post hospitalization expenses, which are not covered by insurance companies, become surprise elements. And one non medical expense can bring challenges in other areas. For example, a sudden requirement to travel, a legal issue, losing a crucial client in business, vendors not being available or going on strike, etc. Think of whatever your life circumstances are which could create stress. Think of what happens to your health under those circumstances. And then what? You are left with no safety net at all. Understand this clearly. Insurance protects big shocks. Emergency fund protects you and your cash flow for survival. You need both, not one of them. So the solution is please take time and note down how your family can execute both insurance and emergency fund. So point number 10 sounds like a solution, not a problem, until it becomes a problem. That is, setting emergency fund once and forgetting about it. This is a silent mistake. You created your emergency fund about 10 years ago and never looked at it. You have aged, your life has changed, expenses has increased, income has changed, responsibilities have grown, probably there are EMIs. If you are in your middle age, you have moved closer to retirement and your emergency fund is still the same, which means your protection actually reduced over time unknowingly. but cost of everything else moved higher due to inflation. How to simply fix this is review your fund every 2 years or at least every 3 years and adjust based on your current lifestyle. Check major life events like expansion of family, increased EMIs, or big purchases or loans. Those are the areas that needs attention. At the end of the day, an emergency fund is not just about money. It's about peace of mind. It's about buying time when life becomes unpredictable. Because when something goes wrong, you don't want to make desperate decisions. You want control and you have to stay calm. If this video helped you think differently about your money, make sure you like and subscribe because I'm interested to know how you feel and add value to your financial life. Also, you can check the description for a link to our financial stability course, which is simple but a huge value add on this topic. Thank you for being here till the end. Wishing you a great financial life.